Hello, chess fans. We're against Master in Making, and I think I'm gonna go for a Sicilian. And we see knight of three. So, what kind of Sicilian do I want to go for? Um, Let me just think. What Sicilian should I go for? Let's go for an e6 Sicilian, and let's try to go for the Khan. I haven't played the Khan Sicilian in a while, but we see a3, which is not a move I know. I'm gonna go for the flank attack, which maybe makes less sense. Maybe makes a3 makes more sense. But I always like this variation, and I think I would be willing to play it against pretty much anything. So let's go d6 to prevent e5, and then we just go for our classic sort of Sicilian setup. And this is a pretty easy Sicilian to try to play against the open, because you pretty much do the same thing every time. The only difference is when you play the Maroczy bind, in which you would probably have the pawn on b6 instead. So my opponent goes back, so let's just go here. I don't really see a problem with that. I'm kind of confused at this move. I don't know what it does. Okay, let's go bishop e7. Here is the idea. Bring the other rook to d8. Just very solid setup, very all fluid with each other, and pretty easy also to play. I didn't really have to do much calculation so far, and I think all my moves have been probably some of the best moves. So h3, I don't really know what that does, so let's continue queen c7. And now I can look at d5, considering e5 has pretty much been prevented. Okay, my opponent's maybe looking at e5, so maybe now it's time to play e5 myself. That could be a possibility. Does create a weakness, but also because I don't really want e5 to come, but maybe I just move my knight on e5. Could also go here. For example, I could go e5, my opponent goes somewhere, and then yeah, maybe I was a little bit too chillaxed with my setup, because this does not look that pleasant for me anymore. So let's just go rook d8, because I feel like this alignment should probably be good. But on e5, I also do have takes, and then takes here. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem just yet. Let's go rook d8, looking for this here. Maybe go bishop f8, and it should be a solid position still. Keep my setup still nice. Okay, so my opponent goes for that, and now that really makes me want to try and break somewhere. For example, what if I go bishop f8 to meet here with takes, I go back, takes, and that looks like a strange position, but maybe one that's good. I could go here as well, and then try to go for knight c5 possibly. Try to go for this maybe. e5 is looking quite scary to make this bishop nice, so I might want to go here, and then yeah. This is still a complicated game, of course, and I thought my wing attack Khan setup would just be pretty much equal, but I don't really like what my opponent's done playing h3 and a3 either, but it's somehow very unpleasant for black. I don't know how. So maybe I go knight e5, takes, bishop moves away, and then I can try to get a knight to d4 maybe. But c3 comes. I think there's unpleasant pressure, and I always think that this position after like takes is always overestimated by people around my level for white. I think white has a very unpleasant pawn structure because black has like all this activity, and I think I'm just gonna go for that, just to destroy the tension and also ruin this bishop for the rest of the game. My opponent is almost assuredly going to take. I assume they are going to take, because I don't really see another. I mean, they could wait, but I don't think it makes sense to allow the knight to c4. I've also prevented e5, which if knight b6 e5 would have been slightly annoying. But now by this route, I don't have to deal with e5, and so I think they pretty much have to take. And we have pressure here. We have pressure on the only open files. The only defect we have is a structural defect, but I feel like that often just doesn't matter. Because, okay, worst case scenario, we trade off all the pieces. It's probably still a draw because, okay, well, my opponent does let me get rid of their very nice bishop, which I kind of do want to get rid of. I could also try to go for like an explosion of the center, for example, like takes here. Yeah, that move doesn't really make sense to do this and then this. Yeah, I don't think my opponent is playing this particularly well. But after takes, maybe I go e5 and try to explode the center somehow. But I'm just going to take the bishop pair because I think that's a simple advantage. And I'm going to just try to play this game probably as simply as possible. So now I might want to go e5 and then follow that up with d5. Though it's possible that my opponent will on e5 go like bishop here so that I can't go d5 because there'd be pressure on e5. So let's just go for developing another piece. I maybe should have gone queen b6 to try and get out of this pin. Okay, my opponent goes there. Let's go queen b6 just to sort of get out of this pin, and this pin. And I think my position is maybe slightly more pleasant. I have the bishop pair. I have a classic Sicilian sort of position. And now I think I want to play d5 because if my opponent closes up the position, I have a French without my opponent playing with their best piece, which is the light squared bishop. So I think I'm willing to play d5 in this position. And I assume my opponent is not going to go for the IQP because that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I assume they're going to go for e5, sorry, and try to attack me somehow. And knight d7, knight f8 always covers all the squares. And I would be looking for a rook c4 here and an eventual build up on the queen side, and probably even on e5 I have knight e4. Okay, so my opponent does go for this. That was slightly unexpected. I could consider like takes here, for example, which doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility, but then my opponent has here, and well, I guess, yeah, if I take, then they would have takes, and after here, and it looks like I'm getting mated, so I think I have to take this way. And now I have the bishop pair. I'm playing against the isolated pawn, and I'm definitely willing to take here if my opponent does allow it. So yeah, my opponent goes for that. Let's take here. I am totally willing to win a pawn on this if my opponent allows, like takes, and then I take the pawn here, or like this pawn right here. I think that's totally fine for me. And I'm down 2 minutes. So yeah, I think this position just became very pleasant for me all of a sudden from a position where my opponent was really unsure of what to do, I think. I don't think my opponent really had a concrete plan of how to improve their position. So now I'm thinking queen b7 looks nice to sort of scare this knight away. And because if they don't move away, I'm going to give them doubled pawn. So I assume they are going to move away. So I get this move for free. And whether the queen is better on b7 or b6, I assumed it was better on b7 because I have this. And I just realized the knight can't move away because then they drop the g2 pawn. So I guess, yeah, they have pretty much no way to sort of save themselves from getting doubled pawns here. I guess the only thing that they can try to do is to try and get some counterplay for the doubled pawns. I also don't even have to give my opponent double pawns. I could just live with the bishop pair. The bishop pair is a huge advantage as well. And yeah, now you can see my opponent is starting to take some time because they realize that their position is slightly unpleasant because they don't have the bishop pair. They have the isolated pawn. They have the worst bishop as well. A worse bishop than the light squared bishop would be because their bishop is on the same color square as this pawn, so it can't really attack my king. Well, this bishop would be really nice because you could probably move it back here, go here, force some weaknesses in the dark squares, and try to infiltrate. But even then, I have the two bishops, which is probably the most important thing. I can play on both sides of the board, play against the pawn as well. And so I don't know what I expect here. I'm looking at moves for my opponent, and I can't really see any that make a lot of sense. Maybe rook d1. And I think I can just pass. I think I can play h6. And I don't think my opponent has any useful moves. Yeah, okay, rook d1, they do go for that. I guess that is threatening to play some sort of rook d3-like move. After, like, take on c8, maybe. Takes. And then play rook there. But then I would have bishop c4. So I think I'm just going to create Luft. I'm going to go h6. And I feel like my opponent has literally no useful moves, so I think I can play that move pretty quickly. So yeah, this is what happens when you don't really have to make a move. Okay, so my opponent does go knight d1. So yeah, that was what my opponent's idea was, which I think is a fine idea probably. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I probably should have given my opponent the double pawns, but don't feel like it's the biggest deal in the world. And now I'm also thinking about bishop e3 ideas. Yeah, I'm going to go bishop e3 because I think that forces the exchange. And after the exchange, I do enjoy my position after this exchange. Takes. Here, for example, I go rook all the way back here. Let's go rook here, and then I think rook here is going to come. Queen g4 could be played, I guess. Bring the rook down. And now my pieces are just really good here. So now I think I have this move. Though in that case, my opponent would have some sort of play. I also could go here to go here. And my opponent's piece would be getting trapped here, I think. Yeah, let's go here. So we feint this, and I don't really see where my opponent is escaping from. My opponent could also go here, but I think that blunders f6, in which case two pieces would be hanging. Oh yeah, they could go there, which I did miss, in fact. Okay, let's just go back. Oh, they have knight c5. Oh. Yeah, okay, I should not have allowed that. Now the position is roughly equal, isn't it? Yeah, I should have probably gone bishop c4. Maybe try to exchange it this way. That knight on c5 is an absolute monster. Yeah, I think I'm also going to try to go fast because now I think I finally sort of caught up on time. Knight c4 here. Yeah, queen e3 is very annoying as well. But then I have here. No, I don't. Queen e3. I'm thinking there could be something with this pin, but I'm not seeing anything. Oh, queen e3, maybe knight there. And okay, maybe this doesn't work as well as I thought it did. Okay, let's go here. I thought I was winning here. Yeah, this did not work out for me, I don't think. Yeah, I was definitely completely winning this. Messed this up big time. Yeah, the knight's coming to b4, isn't it? I missed that, I guess. Okay. Let's go here, maybe. It's not easy. Okay, I think I should try to keep active. Okay, let's go here. Knight b4. Let's go like queen d7. Try to just maintain the activity of our pieces. And maybe I can try to align a battery here. Yeah, this position went from pretty clearly winning to extremely unpleasant. Okay, so my opponent goes there, which makes me want to play here because then I could have like a double threat on the bishop. Okay, let's go here. Oh, okay, they want to go here. Yeah, this just went really downhill. Let's go here. This might be some sort of beacon of hope. Yeah, that was a bad move. I should have gone queen d8, shouldn't I have? Because queen here, maybe I can take and take here. Thinking that's like... Okay, wait, what? That's just a blunder, I think. Okay, now I can even get my bishop back. if I go here, I could like also threaten to do this. But I assume my opponent would just go back here, and then I would have weak squares. But is it worth a try to trick my opponent? Here, like they go back, they're just probably slightly favored from the previous position. I could also go here. Okay, let's try. Let's see if they fall for the trick, which is to take and then take here, which I'm not even sure if it works as a trick, but we will see, I guess, if they go back or whether they go forward. And then I'm going to go king f7, and my king kind of holds these connect 4 together, and the queen is really nice as well. I can even go rook c4 actually to try and prevent knight b4. Okay, let's see what my opponent does. I was definitely losing there and had a really bad position, but mutual mistakes allowed me to come back into the game, and I think my opponent is thinking about whether to go here, probably, which I think I just underestimated. I didn't really calculate that move. No, I think then I can play queen g4. Yeah, so they would have a draw, in fact, if I did allow them to do that. And if I go here, the idea is, okay, so I'm going to go here then. Because if I went here, the idea is to have queen f4, I assume. So let's just defend this, and then let's just threaten this. Yeah, but I don't really want my opponent to get in anyway. Okay, let's just go here then, to threaten to take this with my queen. Let's go here. D5. I missed that. But I have f5. So then I think I can take here, because this check is covered. So I think maybe that works. Also, we're both getting very low on time, and my king is weak, much weaker than my opponent's, so it's going to be sort of unpleasant always. Yeah, I think I made some more mistakes here. These moves were all really bad. I don't think I'm playing excellently today, but hopefully I can win this game and be done with it. Okay, so my opponent goes there. So I assume I just take that. If I take here, takes here, takes here, takes here. Opponent has 2 pawns for the piece. I don't want that. So queen f3. Let's go for queen e4. And my opponent doesn't want to trade, right? So, well, they shouldn't want to trade, but they might want to, because if takes, bishop e5 check, and then knight d5 might be slightly unpleasant for me. Let's go f4, because I think that's trapping the bishop. And okay, let's go here. And where should I go now? Let's go here, because now I'm threatening this mate. And how does my opponent stop it? There's no checks. So I think I'm in the clear now. We're both in very low. We're both at very low time. My opponent has to go like bishop here and then takes h4 to try and escape this. But my opponent decides to resign, which I think is maybe the smarter choice. So let's go to the analysis board now and see where this game went wrong. I think this was a very pleasant game for me, but it suddenly turned unpleasant. So yeah, here I think the opening is pretty bad by my opponent. I don't think a3 is supposed to look for any advantage. The main move here is bishop d3 and knight c3. But the move preferred by like super GMs is c4, going for Meroxy bind, and it seems that white can get away with this after knight f6, knight c3. I think there's some problems with the bishop b4 line after queen d3. This was played in Carlsen Anand in their world championship match, and I think the only equalizing line is d5, but it puts black in a unpleasant endgame basically that just black has to fight out of, and so most people play castles here, and this goes into a long forcing line after e5. So a3, I played b5, which is maybe not the best move. Maybe knight f6 is better. And after here to play like maybe d6 even, and this is like some sort of knight orf with a3, which doesn't make much sense, but I went for this, which is also equal, and knight f3 doesn't make a lot of sense, and here black was just significantly better, and I continued with the setup, and yeah, knight e5 was the best move. I was curious why this is not supposed to be good for my opponent. Let's say bishop e3. Oh, because yeah, I have this pin, and if bishop here, h6 and g5, and then I still have this, or what's happening here? Knight h5 to knight f4, okay. And I'd be winning. So I shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have taken the bishop pair, maybe should have gone knight g6 instead and look forward to some playable position, but at this point, yeah, I thought e5 made the most sense here, and I was thinking about knight e4. I have the two bishops, position is pleasant. But from here, I think it was smooth sailing until I somehow lost the grip. So here I should go f6, which I thought is weakening. But the engine often likes f6 in positions that humans wouldn't play it in. So yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Here I should... Rook b1 doesn't make much sense to me. Bishop c4 doesn't make much sense to me either. Bishop c4 forces this. I think queen d5 maybe is a more natural move. Though, yeah, still my opponent has knight d3, which I missed. So yeah, here I would have been losing. And yeah, this game from here just went a little bit crazy. We were both in time pressure, but I managed to get the better of the complications. As you can see here, the graph is very uninspiring. So that's in today's video, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next CM training video.